Today I'm going to show you how to make a multiple choice quiz on Scratch. As you can see, I've already kind of started. I've already given it a title. This quiz is going to be about the Bill of Rights, and so I've given it a title, Bill of Rights Quiz Game. I've also created 3 other backdrops. The backdrops each contain a question about the Bill of Rights pertaining to one amendment, and so here you go. I've also created 1 sprite. And the reason I've already created these, I'm trying to make this video pretty quick and concise. So I'm going to do this a few different times throughout the video. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, but I will always fill you in on what I've done and how to do that. So on the start screen, the first thing we need to do, we actually have to change the order. The start screen is going to be at the bottom here. This will make sense when we're trying to build a random multiple choice quiz where the player knows if they got their answer correct or incorrect. And so I have this backdrop labeled start screen, and then this backdrop is labeled question 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then if you notice, I've already have a sprite, and the sprite is just a already programmed chosen sprite button that I've enlarged and I've written start game on top of. And then your first look at code, the first code I've added to this sprite, very simple, green flag is clicked, it's going to show up, and then when the sprite is clicked, when this button is clicked, it is going to do things. It's going to broadcast a message, start game, and then it is going to hide. And so if you click the green flag, click start game, it hides. Okay, so the next bit of code is going to actually be on the backdrops. And so if you look, I've already got some pulled out and started for what we're going to do next. The first thing we want is to have our start screen appear as soon as the green flag is clicked. And so we add switch backdrop to start screen. And then from there, we want to make a new list variable. So we're going to make a list. And the reason for this is that we have to come up with our correct answers to our multiple choice questions. And so we're going to make this list correct answers. Oops. Okay. And so we are going to add in the correct answers onto this list from our backdrops. So you have to make sure you know what the answers are. So this one is D, answer is A, and then answer is B. So we're going to add those in that order. We're going to add D, we're going to add A, and we're going to add B to our correct answers. And then we're going to add one other thing here. We're going to add, we're going to delete all correct answers at the very beginning. And the reason for this is we want to start the game with the player having no correct answers already selected. So we got to make sure we start at 0. The next thing we're going to do is then we're going to broadcast another message. When I receive the start game, I'm going to set chosen question. Again, this is a variable I've already created here. The point of this is to make sure that the questions come in a random order. And this gets a little tricky, so I will also need that. So if you see the 3 things here, we're going to set chosen question to pick a random 1 to the length of the correct answers. And this is important that you do it this way so that when it gets to the end and we're adding more multiple choice questions, more than just 3, it will pick from as many as you add later on. So let's see. We should then be able to, after this, we're going to switch the backdrop again. We're going to switch backdrop to chosen question. Oh, let's pull that off here. Okay, and then we're going to broadcast another message. And the reason we're broadcasting another message is to let the game know that it is time for the player to answer the question. And so we're going to broadcast new message. So let's see if we have got this working now. Click the green flag, or start game, and if we do this correct, the questions will be asked in a random order. So that was chosen question 3. Oh, right to bear arms. Okay, so that's good. They're coming in a random order. So I went ahead and added a few things now. As you can see here, I've added a few new sprites. So when the game starts, we need to give the players the ability to make an answer. So I created a new sprite. I, again, found this in Scratch's sprites library, and I put the letter A on top of it, and then the code behind it, I added 4 different things, actually. So the first is green flag is clicked. It's going to hide because we don't want it on the start screen, but we want it to show when it receives the answer to the question from the backdrop. And then once it's been selected, it's going to hide again. And this particular sprite that I've clicked on here, I set this player answer to A. So this is sprite button A. And then I just right-clicked, duplicated 3 different times, and changing it every time. So I changed this to player answer to B. This one is C, and this one is D. And then obviously the costumes, I just changed the letter on the front. So those are my buttons. And then I added a little bit of code to the backdrop. And so the backdrop, the first thing we need to do is similar to the correct answers. We got to set our player answer to 0. So I set player answer to 0, which I actually put in nil. I just deleted it, so it's nothing. Okay, and then we want to add this wait until, and so you can see here. So we want to create as if these buttons are clicked, to let the game know that the buttons are clicked. And so the length of the player answer is greater than 0. So it's going to wait until the button is clicked, and then it's going to realize that it has been clicked and that an answer has been chosen, and then it's going to broadcast. I made a new message, and this is going to be question answered. And then that's why, again, you see on the sprites, that's why this question answered, that's when it's going to hide. Okay. So now that we've given or created these button choices, we need to know when the correct answer has been selected. And we need to let the player know whether they are correct or incorrect or wrong. And so I've gone ahead and I'm on the backdrops now. I've added a few things. We're going to use this if then else statement and this equals operator. And again, if you follow along here, I've already pulled them out. If the player answer is equal to the chosen question of the correct answer. Again, we can't, we have to do it this way because these questions are coming in a random order. So if that, then it is correct, and if not, it is wrong. So if the player answer does not equal the correct answer of the chosen question, then it is incorrect. So that is going to go here. But we're going to have to then, if it's correct, we want to let them know that it's correct. And so we're going to go ahead and create a couple new backdrops, one of them for a correct answer and one of them for an incorrect answer. And so I'm going to do that by choosing backdrops. I'm going to go ahead and do these real quick, and then I'll show you what they look like in a second. Okay, you can see now that I've added a little bit of code here. So I've added if the player answer is equal to the correct answer of the chosen questions, then it's going to switch to correct. If not, it's going to switch to wrong. And then you can see my new backdrops here. This is my correct, and this is my wrong. And then if I do this, if I did it correctly, I hit start game, unreasonable search and seizures, that's the Fourth Amendment B. It's going to go to the correct screen. And then I get this one wrong, search and seizures, it's wrong. Okay, and so we're going to go ahead and add one more thing here. We're going to create a score, and so we're going to create a new variable. We're going to call this variable score because we want to let our players know what, how many points they've had. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the score to 0 at the green flag click. So every time they start the game again, they start with 0 points. And then when they get it correct, we're going to change score by 1. It's going to fit in right there. Okay, and so now we have our score pop up and start game. Again, unreasonable search and seizures is 4. They get it correct, they get a point. Okay, they get a point. Good. They get it wrong, they don't get a point. Perfect. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we have to repeat asking questions because right now it's only asking me one question at a time. We need to add a repeat to this entire block of code so that it continues to add questions for as many questions as we have. Again, this is important because we're going to later on be able to add more and more questions easily, and so we have to follow this this certain way of doing it. So here's the code that I pulled out. We're going to use this repeat length of correct answers in order to, again, enable us to add multiple correct answers, multiple questions later on. So we're going to put this in here, and then we're actually going to pull this apart. We're going to add this repeat here. We're going to add that to the entire block. So it's going to be repeating, answering questions, asking questions until all the correct answers, until all correct answers have been given. So let's see if we did it right. Oh. So here's the code that I pulled out. We're going to use this repeat length of and then correct answers. And again, because we have the length of correct answers lets us know that we can add in more and more questions later on at the end. And also I want to add something here. I wanted to pause a little bit on the correct answer or the wrong answer screen so that it takes a second so that the player knows if it's correct or not. So now I'm going to put this repeat over this entire block of this code. And so we got to drag it up here. Okay. Nope. Oh my gosh. I had to control undo because it needed to go here. There's where it needs to go. All right. And so let's see. Here's the bit of code that I pulled out. I grabbed the repeat and then length of correct answers. And again, this will allow us to continue asking questions, and we can add more and more questions at the end. I also want to add another weight for this control. I wanted to pause on the backdrops for a second, whether it's the correct or the incorrect. Nope, that goes here. Okay. So, and then now this repeat that we built has to go along this whole block of this code. So we're going to move it up here. It's going to go in there. And now if we've done it correctly, green flag, start game, cruel and unusual punishment is the 8th Amendment. We are correct. It waits a second and then asks another question. We got that one wrong. We've got a score of 1. We got that one correct. We've got a score of 2, and then it asked me all of those questions. So it looks like we're doing pretty well so far. Except I think it's going to ask me repeat questions. Cruel and unusual punishment. Yeah. Well, that time it didn't. Let's try it again. Here it is. So it asked me the first and the third question, or it asked me 2 questions at the same time. So we need to fix that. That's going to be our next thing that we work on. So I pulled out some more code here. We're going to use this repeat until and then this not operator. It's going to be a little strange, but we are going to repeat until the questions asked does not contain the chosen question so that it will not repeat our questions. So that goes in here like this. And then the other one I built here, I added the chosen questions to a new list that I created. And the list is called questions asked. And so in order to put this in place, let's see, let's move it up here. I'm actually going to pull this bit of code apart. Yep, there. It's this bit of code that we need to go here. And then it's going to go in there. And then this one that you saw me build, this is going to go in the green flag is clicked on that other. Oh, I'm sorry. No, this is going to go here. So we're going to delete all questions asked. So again, every time the game starts, the question asked list is restarted. And then, all right. So let's see if this questions asked was number 2, bare arms. That's correct. Oh, I got it wrong. Oops. So question 1, cruel and unusual punishment. Well, let's see. Oh, I put this in the wrong spot. So let's. That goes there. That should make more sense. All right, let's start this over. Protection against unreasonable. That's correct. Right to bear arms. Correct. I'll get this one wrong. My score is 2. Wrong. All right. So we played our game. It's asked us random questions. It did not repeat any questions. And so the final thing we're going to add is a game over screen. So I'm going to pull out some code for that now. Okay, here's our last little bit of code here. So once the game is over and it's asked all its questions, we're going to broadcast a new message, and the message is going to be game over. And then we're going to switch to a new backdrop, a backdrop that I've already created. I'll show you. It's called the game over screen. So here is what that backdrop looks like. Game over. And then I've actually added a new sprite as well. I use Scratchcat here. I'm going to code Scratchcat to pop up at the end on the game over screen, and he is going to announce the player's score. And so I've already kind of added that to the code. So here I'm going to switch to the back of his code. And so when the green flag is clicked, he's going to hide because we don't want him on the introduction screen or on the start game screen. But we want him to pop up when the message is broadcast game over. And then he's going to show up, and this is what he's going to say. So I took this say block, and I added a whole bunch of join blocks together. You got the score, so whatever score you have after answering it out of however many correct answers you got. Okay, so let's see how that works. Oh, I got it wrong. So I got 2 out of 4. I'm going to put a space in here. Sometimes you have to space them out, and it makes it look better. So if you notice also, I've also added a 4th question. So I went ahead and did that, and I'm going to show you how to do it pretty quickly. When you go to your backdrops now, you can just add. I duplicated my 3rd backdrop. I added a fourth question. I numbered it number 4, and I added a new amendment. So this is the right to a trial by jury in a civil case. And so the correct answer here is 7th Amendment, which is C. And so when on my code, the only thing I need to do is I needed to add another correct answer block. And so I added, again, you can see that down here, I added a thing to correct answers and I made it C. And then this is how I can add in a number of different test questions, multiple choice questions to this quiz. And so at this point, I only have 4, but I could go on to have 5, 6, 7, however many you want. And then again, that's why we added all these length of correct answers so that no matter how many you add, it will always work appropriately. So that is the end. Oh, actually, let's do one last thing. Let's unclick our variables so it kind of looks a little cleaner on the screen. And then this is what our finished game would look like. So thank you all for watching this. I hope this helps. Again, this can be adapted and changed in a variety of ways. Thank you.